can see you.
Hey, welcome in real quick. I know I've spoken ad nauseum about the upcoming Architects of Horror project and been referencing it over the past few months, actually, as it pertains to the review videos and how I've used that as a tool, not to dissect, but just to understand the architecture of the indie works that we've been covering. Um, The book itself is going to be coming soon. I thought it would be out already, but I made the decision to push that onto a larger platform, and am currently waiting for the book cover wrap template from Ingram Spark. If you know, you know. Um, so that will be upcoming probably within 2 weeks, and then shortly after that will be the first installment of the Ledger of Dread. Now, the Architects project was basically born. Well, let me start here. Um, Generally, when I come across a book that I know I want to review, I will do my best to get in touch with the author, and not as an act of permission, but just so that they have knowledge that a review video will be coming. Now, it's a good way for them to guide their viewership or whatever towards the video, or to even use the video in their own promotional stuff, which has definitely been, or it's definitely happened in the past. But through some of the conversations, this is where this book was born from, I guess I could say, or where the idea came from. Was just in asking what was the inspiration, what inspired these authors to write what they did. And as would be expected with a lot of modern authors, their first hook is either Stephen King or Dean Koontz. And if you do a little bit of backtracking, you can find some earlier articles where both of those men listed some of their own inspirations, going back into the 1800s with Poe and Shelley. But a lot of the responses were Tananarive Due and Octavia Butler, which I thought was really interesting. And for me, that was curriculum reading in the past in high school, and I can understand why. I mean, it's a vital architect, or a vital. I don't want to use the title or use the title for the reference, but it's vital to understanding where American horror is today. And so even going back into Octavia Butler's earliest interviews and whatnot posted, and a lot of her inspiration came from Chestnut, or even further back into William Wells Brown and Victor Seor. But anyways, that's what inspired this whole process, and I kept going back and back until I got to the point where, well, inspiration comes from those before us, obviously, but also when it comes to horror, and I don't want to say specifically, but definitely, an author seems to, in my opinion anyway, and that's what this book is going to be, is an op-ed. So it's not fiction, it's not necessarily nonfiction. Just my findings, really, in this project that's taken months, where authors have inspirations, yes, but what the project truly became is what fears were solved and which new fears arose as we started moving again forward through time. Not that the horror writers of their times were doing anything wrong when they were solving the fears that were relevant in that day. Now, we've heard it many times before where there's a desensitization, and that really is true. So why Bram Stoker, for instance, took the world by storm is because these were fears, latent fears, or imaginative fears that people didn't even know they had until they read the book, and then they had them. Well, that progresses, through the years up to the present, and the same fears that we have or that were relevant then are not now. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So you'll see in the book where there's references to a failure to resolve a fear. And it isn't so much the writer at that point failed, it's that the fear itself evolved. And that was probably the most surprising finding that I had while assembling this project. Damn it, and there's one other thing I wanted to get to in this. Oh, the pillars. I reference these things a lot, and I know that can be kind of confusing. But that's really uh, the foundation of why the project was relevant to the reviews I'm currently doing. Basically, there's 3 distinct pillars and of fear, and some authors are very good at one particular pillar, but there are a great many of them that are amazing at blending 2, if not 3 of them together. And then also on top of the pillars, established what I call what the channel I call the Lovecraft metric. And all that is taking his universal view of whether a fear can be solved or resolved or not. And in a lot of cases, specifically with cosmic horror, that is unsolvable. And we have had a few examples of that on the channel in the past. But at any rate, I just wanted to update on the Architects of Horror project that we are waiting, because we want to try and get this out there a little bit more, and also go in the Ingram Spark direction. We're going to be able to get this book out there much cheaper than usual, and that's really the goal. Definitely not a moneymaker by any means, so yeah, that's where we're at. I will absolutely let everybody know when this thing is ready, but it is coming soon. And then to circle back completely, the 2025 Ledger of Dread will be the first annual installment of kind of a continuation of the Architects as we build in the modern. What really makes the indie landscape stand out in each year as we progress through the reviews, of the hidden gems that we've been working on trying to flesh out. But really, that's it. Yeah, hope you're enjoying the reviews so far. I've definitely been enjoying doing them, and I know that they're not, like your standard reviews, but I don't like using light prose to describe something when we're trying to identify the architecture of a particular work. I leave the short-winded prose and the cookie cutter reviews to other people. I think it's this channel's prerogative to meet the same dedication that the authors put into the work itself. And I know that I've said that many times over, maybe phrased differently, but it's really the truth. Yeah, you're going to get a full breakdown reviews here, where I like to express how I feel about a certain book, what made me feel that way, and the architecture that supports all of that. So that's why we do what we do here. And until next time.